Hello, friend. I am your guide, and tonight I will be your guide through a journey of microscopic wonders and atmospheric giants. Tonight, we are going to slow down the world. We are going to pause the relentless forward march of time and simply observe the sky. We are continuously writing the story of 100 facts about soft rain and thunder, a collection of the most soothing, scientifically accurate, and poetic truths about the storms that lull us to sleep. Tonight, we will cover the first portion of this list, exploring how clouds are born, the true shape of falling water, and the chemistry of the air itself. But before we begin, let us find our shelter. I want you to visualize a place where you feel perfectly safe. It might be a small cabin nestled in a valley of pine trees, a room with a large window overlooking a dim city street, or perhaps a cozy reading nook in a house by the sea. Wherever you are, it is warm. The air inside is still and dry, contrasting beautifully with the moisture gathering in the world outside. You are seated or lying down in the most comfortable position imaginable. There is a heavy, soft blanket pulled up to your chin. You can feel the weight of it, a gentle pressure that reminds your muscles they no longer need to hold you up. They can let go. Take a deep breath in through your nose, filling your lungs with the quiet, neutral air of your sanctuary, and exhale slowly through your mouth, letting your shoulders drop away from your ears. Again, inhale, feeling your chest rise, creating space within you, and exhale, releasing the tension in your jaw, your hands, your legs. Outside, the sky is darkening. It is that specific shade of bruised purple and slate gray that promises a heavy, cleansing rain. You can hear the wind picking up, rustling the leaves or whistling softly around the eaves of your shelter. This is not a frightening sound. It is the sound of nature preparing its orchestra. As you listen to the wind, allow your eyelids to become heavy. So heavy that keeping them open feels like too much effort. Let them close. In the darkness behind your eyes, you are safe, you are warm, you are ready to learn, not with the sharp, alert part of your brain, but with the deep, dreaming part that absorbs stories like water into soil. Listen to the first few drops beginning to fall. Tap, tap, tap. Calm and irregular against the glass or the roof. This brings us to our first realization, a foundational truth about why we are here. Fact number 1. The sound of rain is what scientists call pink noise. Unlike white noise, which has equal energy at every frequency, sounding like a harsh radio static, pink noise decreases in intensity as the frequency increases. This means it is dominated by lower, deeper tones. It is a balanced, organic sound found in the rustling of leaves, the steady heartbeats of sleeping animals, and the fall of rain. Your brain loves pink noise. It does not demand attention. Instead, it masks the jarring interruptions of the world, smoothing out the background, creating a sonic blanket that allows your mind to drift into alpha waves, the state of relaxed wakefulness and light meditation. Fact number 2. There is an evolutionary reason you feel safe right now. For hundreds of thousands of years, our ancestors lived exposed to the elements. A storm was a signal. When the sky opened up and the rain poured down, predators sought shelter. They were less active, their scents washed away, their tracks hidden. For early humans, the sound of heavy rain meant it was unlikely they would be hunted. It meant they couldn't go out to forage or travel. It was nature's mandatory pause button. The sound of rain is deeply encoded in your DNA as a signal that says, there is nothing you can do right now. You are safe to rest. So, let us obey that ancient instinct. Let us rest. And as we rest, let us turn our mind's eye upward, miles above your roof, to witness the genesis of the storm. The genesis of a storm. How clouds are born. To understand the rain, we must first understand the cloud. And to understand the cloud, we must start with the invisible. Fact number 3. The story of a rainstorm begins with the ocean, but not in the way you might think. It begins with heat. As the sun warms the surface of the sea, or a lake, or even damp soil, water molecules become excited. They vibrate with energy until they break the bonds that hold them together as a liquid. This is evaporation, an endothermic process. That means it absorbs heat. This is why, if you were to stand in the mist rising from a warm lake, the air might feel strangely cool on your skin. The water is taking the heat with it, rising up, up, up into the atmosphere as invisible water vapor. Fact number 4. We often think of air as empty space, but it is actually a sponge. And like a sponge, its ability to hold water depends on its temperature. Warm air is a large, expanded sponge. It can hold a vast amount of invisible vapor. But as that warm, moist air rises, it encounters less pressure. It expands, and, in doing so, it cools. This is called adiabatic cooling. Fact number 5. Eventually, the rising air reaches a critical temperature known as the dew point. This is the moment the sponge becomes full. The air can no longer hold its hidden burden of water vapor. It must let it go. It must transform from a gas back into a liquid. But here is the secret. Water vapor cannot turn into a cloud on its own. It needs a partner. It needs something to hold on to. Fact number 6. These partners are called cloud condensation nuclei. They are the microscopic architects of the sky. Without them, our sky would be a clear, humid haze, but there would be no clouds. These nuclei are tiny particles floating in the atmosphere, specks of dust from the Sahara Desert, crystals of sea salt whipped up by crashing waves, soot from distant forest fires, pollen from pine trees, or even microscopic ash from meteors that burned up upon entering Earth's atmosphere. Fact number 7. Imagine a single grain of sea salt floating thousands of feet above the Earth. It is lonely and cold, but it is chemically attractive to water. As the air cools to the dew point, water vapor rushes toward this tiny crystal. It condenses onto the surface of the salt, forming a shell of liquid water. A cloud droplet is born. Fact number 8. These droplets are incredibly small. A typical cloud droplet is only about 0.01 to 0.02 millimeters in diameter. To give you a sense of scale, a human hair is about 0.07 millimeters thick. You would need to line up nearly 100 cloud droplets to match the width of a single strand of hair. They are so light that they do not fall. They float, suspended on the gentlest updrafts of air, defying gravity through sheer insignificance. Fact number 9. When you look up at a fluffy white cumulus cloud, the kind that looks like a floating heap of cotton or a head of cauliflower, you are seeing the sunlight scattering off billions of these tiny droplets. Because the droplets are densely packed, they bounce the full spectrum of sunlight back to your eye, which your brain interprets as pure white. Fact number 10. But we are here for the storm. We are here for the heavy gray blanket that brings sleep. So, why do clouds turn gray? As the cloud grows, as more vapor condenses and the droplets crowd closer together, the cloud becomes thicker. A storm cloud, a cumulonimbus, can be tens of thousands of feet tall. When a cloud becomes this thick, the sunlight hitting the top cannot reach the bottom. It is scattered, absorbed, and blocked by the sheer density of water and ice above. The gray base of a storm cloud is simply a shadow. It is the cloud casting a shadow upon itself, blocking out the sun to create a dim twilight world for us below. Fact number 11. Let us go higher still. At the very top of a storm cloud, the air is freezing. Here, the water does not just condense, it undergoes deposition. It skips the liquid phase entirely and turns directly from invisible gas into solid ice. These are the cirrus clouds, the wispy, feathery streaks you see high in the blue on a fair day, or the anvil top of a thunderstorm. They are made of pure ice crystals. Fact number 12. These ice crystals are the prisms of the sky. If you have ever seen a halo, a ring of light around the moon or sun, it is because the light is passing through these hexagonal ice crystals, bending at an angle of exactly 22 degrees. It is a mathematical perfection happening miles above your head, a silent geometry of ice and light. Now, visualize that heavy, dark cloud hovering over your shelter. It is full. The droplets are no longer content to float. They are beginning to collide. They are beginning to fall. The physics of falling water. The transition from a floating cloud droplet to a falling raindrop is one of the most dramatic shifts in nature. It is a journey of gravity, drag, and transformation. Fact number 13. A standard raindrop is roughly 2 millimeters in diameter. This might sound small, but compared to the cloud droplet we just discussed, it is a giant. A raindrop contains about 1 million cloud droplets. For rain to happen, 1 million tiny floating specks must find each other and merge into a single heavy drop capable of falling to Earth. Fact number 14. This merging process is called collision coalescence. In the turbulence and turbulence within a cloud, droplets are constantly bumping into one another. Usually, they bounce off, protected by a thin film of air. But sometimes, if there's a bit of electric charge in the air, and in a storm there always is, they stick. They coalesce. A slightly larger drop forms. Because it is larger, it is heavier. It begins to fall faster than its neighbors. As it falls, it acts like a broom, sweeping up thousands of smaller, slower droplets in its path, growing fatter and faster with every meter it descends. Fact number 15. Now, imagine that single, heavy raindrop exiting the bottom of the cloud. It enters the open air, beginning its long plunge toward your roof. Close your eyes and picture its shape. You are likely picturing a teardrop, rounded at the bottom, tapering to a sharp point at the top. This is the classic symbol of rain. It is also a myth. Fact number 16. Raindrops are not shaped like teardrops. A teardrop shape would be aerodynamically impossible for a liquid falling through air. When a raindrop is small, under 1 millimeter, surface tension is the dominant force. It pulls the water molecules tight, making the drop a perfect sphere. It falls like a microscopic ball bearing. Fact number 17. As the drop grows larger, air resistance begins to fight against surface tension. The air rushing up against the falling drop pushes the bottom up, flattening it. The top, shielded from the wind, remains rounded. Therefore, a falling raindrop is actually shaped like the top half of a hamburger bun or a kidney bean. It is flat on the bottom and curved on top. Fact number 18. If the drop gets too large, generally over 4 or 5 millimeters wide, the force of the air becomes too strong. The center of the hamburger bun is pushed up so hard that it thins out and eventually tears. The drop bursts apart into smaller droplets, which then continue the fall. This is nature's speed limit on rain size. You will rarely, if ever, see a raindrop larger than a coin because the air simply won't allow it. Fact number 19. How fast is this drop traveling? It depends on its size. A tiny drizzle droplet might float down at a gentle 2 miles per hour, drifting like a feather. But a large, heavy storm drop, the kind that makes a loud thwack against the window, can reach a terminal velocity of about 20 miles per hour, or 9 meters per second. Fact number 20. Terminal velocity is a state of balance. When the drop first leaves the cloud, gravity pulls it down, accelerating it. But as it speeds up, the air resistance pushing back against it increases. Eventually, the upward push of the air exactly equals the downward pull of gravity. The drop stops accelerating and continues at a steady, constant speed. It is a peaceful equilibrium, a compromise between the earth pulling it home and the sky trying to hold it back. Fact number 21. Sometimes the rain never reaches the ground. In hot, dry climates, you might see gray streaks hanging from the bottom of a cloud, dangling like jellyfish tentacles but fading into nothingness before they touch the horizon. This is called virga. The rain is falling, but the air below is so dry that the drops evaporate entirely during their descent. It is a phantom rain, a storm that exists only in the sky. But tonight, the air is cool and moist. The rain reaches you. When a drop hits a puddle, it does not just splash. It performs a complex fluid dance. High-speed cameras reveal that when a drop hits water, it often creates a Worthington jet. The impact creates a crater, and then the water rebounds, shooting a tall, thin pillar of water straight up into the air, sometimes launching a tiny secondary droplet from its tip like a crown jewel. This happens in the blink of an eye, millions of times during a storm, a microscopic fountain show that no one sees. Watching rain can be hypnotic because of the parallax effect. When you look out a window, the drops closest to you seem to streak by incredibly fast, while the drops in the distance appear to fall slowly, almost drifting. This layering of speeds creates a perception of depth and movement that your brain finds deeply engaging yet relaxing. It is a visual massage for the optic nerve. Now, take a moment to listen. The rain is steady now. The drops are no longer individuals, they are a collective hush. Shh. But rain is not just sound and sight. It is a scent. And that scent is perhaps the most evocative, memory-triggering sensation on Earth. The chemistry of the air, petrichor and ozone. Have you ever stepped outside just before a storm and thought, "It smells like rain"? You were not imagining it. You were smelling chemistry. Fact number 24. The smell that arrives before the rain is distinct from the smell after the rain. The pre-rain scent is sharp, clean, and slightly metallic, confusingly similar to chlorine or fresh bed sheets. Fact number 25. Ozone is a molecule made of 3 oxygen atoms, O3, whereas the oxygen we breathe is made of 2, O2. It is created by the violence of the storm itself. When lightning flashes, even if it is distant and silent to you, the bolt burns through the atmosphere at 50,000 degrees Fahrenheit. This intense heat splits the nitrogen and oxygen molecules in the air. The freed oxygen atoms quickly latch on to other oxygen molecules, forming ozone. Fact number 26. Ozone is typically found high in the atmosphere, in the ozone layer, where it protects us from ultraviolet light. However, the strong downdrafts of wind that precede a thunderstorm push this gas down to ground level. When you smell that sharp electric tang, you are smelling the exhaust of a lightning bolt that may have struck miles away. You are smelling the storm's calling card. Fact number 27. But the smell after the rain, that rich, earthy, comforting perfume that rises from the damp soil, is something else entirely. It has a name, petrichor. Fact number 28. The word petrichor was coined in 1964 by 2 Australian scientists, Isabel Joy Baer and Richard G. Thomas. They created the word from the Greek petra, meaning stone, and ichor, which in Greek mythology was the ethereal golden fluid that flowed in the veins of the gods. The scent, therefore, is the blood of the stone. Fact number 29. Petrichor is not a single chemical, but a cocktail. Its primary ingredient is a compound called geosmin, and the source of geosmin is one of the most surprising facts in our collection. It comes from bacteria. Fact number 30. In the soil, there lives a common type of bacteria called actinobacteria, specifically the genus Streptomyces. These are the good bacteria that help decompose leaves and turn them into rich, fertile soil. As a byproduct of their life cycle, they produce geosmin. Fact number 31. Humans are incredibly sensitive to geosmin. In fact, we are more sensitive to it than sharks are to blood in the water. You can detect the scent of geosmin at a concentration of just 5 parts per trillion. That is equivalent to adding 1 teaspoon of the chemical to 200 Olympic-sized swimming pools. Our noses are finely tuned instruments designed to find wet earth. Fact number 32. Why would we evolve such sensitivity? Evolutionary biologists believe that for our ancestors, the scent of wet soil meant survival. It meant fresh water was nearby. It meant the drought was over. It meant the animals we hunted would be gathering. When you take a deep breath of that rainy smell and feel a wave of relaxation, you are feeling the relief of your ancestors. Fact number 33. There is another ingredient in petrichor, plant oils. During long dry spells, plants produce oils, like stearic and palmitic acid, that they secrete into the soil. These oils inhibit the growth of other seeds, preventing competition for scarce water. When the rain finally comes, these oils are flushed out of the soil and released into the air, adding a fatty, green, resinous note to the bouquet of the storm. Fact number 34. But how does the smell get from the dirt to your nose? This was a mystery until high-speed photography solved it. When a raindrop hits a porous surface like dry soil, it traps tiny bubbles of air underneath it. Fact number 35. These air bubbles rise through the raindrop and burst at the surface, like bubbles in a glass of champagne. When they burst, they eject tiny jets of aerosols, microscopic mist, high into the air. This mist carries the geosmin, the plant oils, and the viruses and bacteria from the soil. The wind then carries this aerosol cloud to you. So, when you smell rain, you are literally inhaling the microscopic essence of the earth, released by the fizz of a billion tiny champagne bubbles popping on the ground. Take a deep breath now. Can you imagine that scent? The sharpness of the ozone, the deep, musky warmth of the wet soil, the hint of crushed pine needles and wet pavement. It is the smell of the world being washed clean. The air you are breathing in your visualization is highly charged. Fact number 36. You may have heard of negative ions. These are oxygen atoms with an extra electron. They are odorless, tasteless, and invisible molecules that we inhale in abundance in certain environments. Water in motion, waterfalls, ocean waves, and heavy rainstorms create negative ions. Fact number 37. When water droplets collide and split, the Leonard effect, they shear electrons off the atoms, charging the air. Inside your warm, dry shelter, the air might be neutral. But if you were to open the window, the air flowing in would be rich with these negative ions. Fact number 38. Scientific studies suggest that negative ions can have a biochemical effect on the human body. They are believed to increase the flow of oxygen to the brain, resulting in higher alertness, decreased drowsiness, and more mental energy. However, they also help to reduce air pollutants. Dust, pollen, and mold spores usually carry a positive charge. The negative ions attach to them, making them too heavy to float. They fall to the ground. This is why the air feels so pristine and easy to breathe after a storm. The rain has literally pulled the dust out of the sky. Fact number 39. Let us return to the sound. The rain is hitting different surfaces now. Plink, plunk, hiss, thrum. Each surface acts as a different instrument in the orchestra. Fact number 40. Rain falling on a body of water, like a lake or a puddle, creates a sound dominated by a frequency of roughly 15 kilohertz. This is a relatively high-pitched, hissing sound caused by the oscillation of the bubbles we mentioned earlier. It is a white sound, smooth and consistent. Fact number 41. Rain falling on leaves is different. A leaf is flexible. It acts like a tiny drumhead. When a drop strikes a broadleaf, it vibrates, producing a lower, duller thud. But leaves also drip. They collect water until the weight is too great and then release a large secondary drop. This creates the irregular, rhythmic drip-drop pattern that is so characteristic of a forest in the rain. Fact number 42. Rain on a metal roof, a favorite of many sleep enthusiasts, is loud and resonant. The metal is rigid but thin. It amplifies the impact. A tin roof turns the rain into a percussion section. The chaos of thousands of individual metallic pings merges into a steady, roaring hum that drowns out all other thoughts. Fact number 43. Notice how the world seems quieter during a rainstorm. It is not just that the animals have gone into hiding. It is the acoustics of the air itself. High humidity and the presence of millions of water droplets absorb sound waves. The droplets dampen the noise of the city, the highway, the neighbors. The rain acts as a sound barrier, wrapping your house in a cone of silence. Fact number 44. There is a specific type of silence that occurs right after a heavy snowfall, which we call snow silence. But rain has its own version. It is the wet silence. Wet surfaces like grass and soil are less reflective of sound than dry, hard surfaces. The world becomes softer, less echoey. It feels intimate. Fact number 45. Even the trees are involved in this acoustic shift. In dry weather, leaves are brittle and rustle sharply in the wind. When wet, they become pliable and heavy. They do not rustle, they sway silently. The background hiss of the wind in the trees disappears, replaced by the patter of the water. Fact number 46. Have you ever wondered why you sleep better when it rains? Beyond the pink noise and the safety instinct, there is a temperature component. Rain cools the ambient air temperature. Your body's core temperature needs to drop slightly in order to initiate sleep. The cooling breeze of a storm helps your body reach that thermal sweet spot. Fact number 47. Let's listen to the rhythm again. It is not a perfect metronome. It is stochastic, random, but within a predictable range. Your brain loves this. If the sound were a perfectly repeating loop, your brain would eventually get bored and start looking for stimulation. If it were completely chaotic, your brain would be alerted to danger. Rain sits in the Goldilocks zone of auditory stimulation. Predictable enough to be safe, random enough to be natural. Fact number 48. There is a Japanese word, ukiyo, which refers to the floating world. While it historically referred to a lifestyle of pleasure, in a modern context, it can describe the feeling of being detached from the troubles of life, living in the moment. Watching rain run down a window pane is a form of ukiyo. You track one drop as it races another, merging, pausing, zigzagging. For that minute, you are not thinking about tomorrow. You are just watching water move. And as we watch the water move, we see a flash. A soft, white pulse of light that illuminates the clouds from within. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Rumble. The thunder is here. The mechanics of thunder and lightning. Thunder is the voice of the storm. It is deep, resonant, and vibrating. It is a sound you feel in your chest as much as you hear with your ears. Fact number 49. What is lightning? It is a giant spark of static electricity. Inside a cumulonimbus cloud, chaos reigns. Updrafts carry liquid water droplets up, while downdrafts carry ice crystals down. As these particles brush past each other, they exchange electrons. It is exactly the same mechanism as rubbing your socks on a carpet, but on a planetary scale. Fact number 50. The lighter ice crystals gain a positive charge and are carried to the top of the cloud. The heavier grapple, soft hail, gains a negative charge and sinks to the bottom. This creates a massive electrical imbalance. The top of the cloud is positive, the bottom is negative. The ground below the cloud responds to this negative charge. Like charges repel, so the negative charge at the cloud's base pushes away the electrons in the ground, leaving the earth, trees, and buildings with a positive charge. The attraction becomes irresistible. Fact number 52. Nature hates an imbalance. Eventually, the insulation capacity of the air breaks down. A stepped leader, an invisible channel of negative charge, zigzags down from the cloud. At the same time, streamers of positive charge reach up from the tall trees and lightning rods. When they connect, snap, the circuit is closed. A massive return stroke of current shoots up the channel at 1/3 the speed of light. That is the flash you see. Fact number 53. But what is the thunder? Thunder is not the sound of the collision. It is the sound of the air exploding. The lightning bolt heats the air around it to 50,000 degrees Fahrenheit, approx 27,000 Celsius. That is 5 times hotter than the surface of the sun. Fact number 54. This heating happens in a fraction of a second. The air expands explosively, creating a shock wave. This shock wave starts as a supersonic boom, but as it travels outward, it slows down and becomes the sound wave we call thunder. Fact number 55. You can calculate your distance from the storm using simple math. Light travels effectively instantly, 186,000 miles per second. Sound is slow. It takes about 5 seconds to travel 1 mile, or 3 seconds to travel 1 kilometer. So, when you see the flash, count the seconds. Divide by 5 for miles, or by 3 for kilometers. If you count to 10, the storm is 2 miles away. Safe, distant. Fact number 56. Why does thunder sometimes sound like a sharp crack and other times like a long, low rumble? It depends on the orientation of the lightning bolt. If the bolt is vertical and close to you, the sound from the bottom and top of the bolt reaches you at nearly the same time. Crack. Fact number 57. However, lightning bolts can be miles long, sometimes stretching horizontally across the sky. If a long bolt stretches away from you, the sound from the nearest part reaches you first, followed by the sound from further and further up the channel. This stretches the sound out into a long, rolling rumble that can last for several seconds. Fact number 58. The low-frequency rumble of distant thunder is one of the most comforting sounds to the human ear. Low frequencies travel much further than high frequencies. High-pitched sounds are absorbed by the air and obstacles, like trees and houses. But the deep bass waves of thunder can travel for 10 or 20 miles, bending over hills and passing through walls. When you hear that soft rumble, you are hearing a sound that has traveled a great distance to find you. Fact number 59. There is a phenomenon called heat lightning. You might see flashes on the horizon on a warm summer night, but hear no thunder. This is not a specific type of lightning. It is simply a storm that is too far away for the sound to reach you. The sound waves are refracted, bent upward by the warm air near the ground, passing harmlessly over your head. It is a silent light show. Fact number 60. Lightning does not just strike down, it can strike up. Blue jets and red sprites are exotic forms of electrical discharge that shoot from the tops of storm clouds upward into the edge of space. Red sprites look like giant red jellyfish with dangling tentacles, occurring 50 miles above the Earth. They are flashes of cold plasma, invisible from the ground due to the clouds, but seen by pilots and astronauts. They are the secret storms of the upper atmosphere. Fact number 61. A single bolt of lightning can contain 1 billion volts of electricity. It contains enough energy to toast 100,000 slices of bread. Yet, it is over in microseconds. It is a display of immense power that leaves the air cleaner, the soil richer, lightning creates nitrogen fertilizer for plants, and the observer humbled. Fact number 62. The rolling sound of thunder is also caused by echoes. The sound wave bounces off the clouds, the ground, the hills, and the buildings. In a city, thunder can echo for a long time as it bounces between skyscrapers. In a valley, it rolls back and forth between the walls. Each storm has a unique acoustic fingerprint depending on the landscape it is passing over. Now imagine that the thunder is very faint, a soft murmur in the distance. The storm is moving on, leaving behind a steady, soaking rain. Your eyelids are heavy. The knowledge of the clouds, the raindrops, and the lightning is settling in your mind, not as data, but as a story of how the world works. A story of water rising, falling, and returning. You are part of this cycle. The water in your body is the same water that was once a cloud, once a glacier, once a deep ocean wave. You are connected to the rain. Rest now in that connection. Listen to the pink noise. Feel the cool, ion-rich air in your imagination. There is more to tell. Stories of the wettest places on Earth, of frogs that freeze solid and wake up, of deserts that bloom in a day. But for now, just breathe. Breathe in the petrichor.
Breathe out the day. The story continues. Hello, friend. It is good to be with you again. If you are just joining us, or if your mind has drifted during our pause, let us take a moment to resettle. You are safe here. The storm we spoke of earlier is still present, a faithful companion outside your walls, but it has settled into a steady, rhythmic hum. The thunder has softened, rolling away to the edges of the horizon, leaving behind the consistent, nourishing sound of falling water. You are warm, you are supported. There is nothing you need to do right now but listen. Let the tension in your shoulders melt like ice in warm water. Let your jaw unhinge. Let your hands rest open and empty. You are a traveler in a stationary vessel, and tonight we are going to let the rain carry our imagination across the globe, into the hidden burrows of sleeping animals, and through the ancient memories of humanity itself. We have spoken of how rain is born and how it falls. Now let us explore where it lands. Rain across the globe. Our world is a water world, but the distribution of this precious liquid is a tapestry of extremes. Let us drift in our minds from your cozy shelter to the verdant hills of India. Fact number 63. There is a place on earth where the rain almost never stops. It is a village called Mawsynram, located in the East Khasi Hills of Meghalaya, India. The name Meghalaya translates beautifully from Sanskrit as the abode of clouds. Here, the moist monsoon winds from the Bay of Bengal slam against the mountains, cooling rapidly and releasing torrents of water. Mawsynram holds the Guinness World Record for the highest average annual rainfall, receiving nearly 470 inches of rain per year. Imagine a place where the sound of rain is not an occasional visitor, but the constant background music of life. A perpetual lullaby that keeps the hills lush and green. Fact number 64. In this wettest place on earth, the people have learned to work with the rain rather than against it. In the deep valleys of Meghalaya, you will not find bridges made of steel or concrete, which would rust and crumble in the damp. Instead, you will find living root bridges. The locals guide the pliable aerial roots of the rubber fig tree across rivers, weaving them together. Over decades, these roots grow thicker and stronger. The rain does not weaken these bridges, it feeds them. Some of these living structures are over 500 years old, silent testaments to the harmony between human ingenuity and the relentless fall of water. Fact number 65. Let us fly east across the ocean to the island of Kauai in Hawaii. Here stands Mount Waialele, a shield volcano. Its name means rippling water or overflowing water. The summit of this mountain is one of the most consistently wet places on the planet, raining an average of 335 days a year. It is often shrouded in mist, a high-altitude sanctuary where the ancient volcanic rock is carpeted in emerald mosses and ferns that have never known a dry day. Fact number 66. Now let us travel to South America, to the mouth of the Catatumbo River in Venezuela. Here exists a phenomenon known as the everlasting storm. For up to 160 nights a year, for 9 hours at a time, the sky is illuminated by a ceaseless display of lightning. This is the Catatumbo lightning. It is so consistent that for centuries, sailors used it as a lighthouse to navigate the dark waters of Lake Maracaibo. It is silent from a distance, a rhythmic pulsing of light like a heartbeat in the clouds, creating one of the single greatest generators of ozone on the planet. Fact number 68. We often think of rain as water, but on other worlds, the storms are made of stranger stuff. On Titan, the largest moon of Saturn, it rains liquid methane. The droplets are huge, twice the size of Earth's droplets, and they fall in slow motion due to the low gravity and thick atmosphere. And on the gas giants, Neptune and Uranus, scientists believe that extreme atmospheric pressure crushes carbon atoms into crystals. Deep inside these planets, it literally rains diamonds. Imagine a storm of glittering jewels falling through a dark, silent ocean of gas. Fact number 68. Back on Earth, rain has the power to resurrect. In the Atacama Desert of Chile, one of the driest places on Earth, the ground can go for decades without a single drop. The soil appears barren, a landscape of red dust and rock.
But hidden beneath the surface are millions of dormant seeds waiting. Every 5 to 7 years, when the El Niño weather pattern brings an unexpected heavy rain, the desert undergoes a miraculous transformation known as the Desierto Florido, or flowering desert. Within days, the red dust is hidden beneath a carpet of purple, pink, and yellow flowers. It is a reminder that life is patient, always waiting for the rain to wake it up. Fact number 69. The scent of rain we discussed earlier, petrichor, is actually strongest in these desert regions. In a rainforest, the oils and chemicals are constantly washed away. But in the desert, plants accumulate these protective oils over long, dry years. When the rain finally arrives, the release of scent is explosive. The smell of a desert thunderstorm is the most potent perfume in nature, a concentrated signal of relief that can be smelled for miles. Fact number 70. Speaking of rainforests, the Amazon creates its own rain. This is a process called transpiration. The trees draw water from the soil and release it as vapor from their leaves. A single large tree can release 260 gallons of water into the air each day. This vapor rises, forms clouds, and falls again as rain. In a very real sense, the forest is breathing. It exhales the mist that becomes the storm that waters its own roots. Fact number 71. Sometimes the rain carries a color. In 2001, in the southern Indian state of Kerala, the rain fell red. It stained clothes and looked like blood. For a long time, this was a mystery, but scientists eventually discovered that the wind had picked up microscopic spores of a specific terrestrial algae. The rain was simply returning the biology of the earth to the earth. There have also been reports of yellow rain, pollen, and black rain, volcanic ash. The sky is a mixer, blending the elements of the ground with the water of the clouds. Fact number 72. In the city of Yoro, Colombia, another contender for the wettest place on earth, the rain is so intense that it does not just water the crops, it erases the roads. But the people there do not despair. They have built their lives around the water, using the river as their highway. In these cultures, rain is not seen as bad weather. It is seen as the state of being. To complain about the rain would be like a fish complaining about the sea. Fact number 73. Rain connects continents. The dust from the Sahara Desert is lifted by the wind and carried across the Atlantic Ocean. This dust serves as the condensation nuclei, the seeds, for rain clouds over the Amazon rainforest. And when that rain falls, it brings with it the minerals from the desert sand, fertilizing the jungle soil. The lush green of the Amazon is fed by the dry dust of Africa. The wind and the rain weave the world together in a complex, nutrient-rich dance. Fact number 74. There is a specific wind in West Africa called the Harmattan, but the one that brings the rain is the monsoon. The word monsoon comes from the Arabic word mausim, meaning season. It is not just a storm, it is a planetary breath. In the summer, the land heats up, drawing cooler, moist air from the ocean, the inhale. In the winter, the land cools, pushing dry air out to sea, the exhale. The rains of the monsoon are simply the earth taking a deep breath. Finally, in our global tour, consider the ocean itself. It rains more over the ocean than over land, but we rarely see it. When rain hits the ocean, it creates a layer of fresh water on top of the salt water. This fresh layer can persist for some time before mixing. It is a momentary peace treaty between the sky and the sea, where the salt is diluted and the surface becomes calm and smooth, dampening the waves. Flora and fauna in the rain. As the rain falls across these vast landscapes, what becomes of the creatures who live there? When you run to your shelter, you are not alone. The entire natural world is seeking its own version of comfort. Fact number 76. Have you ever wondered where the birds go? They don't have houses, yet you rarely see a soaked bird. Most birds seek shelter in the dense foliage of trees and shrubs. They have a remarkable adaptation in their feet. When a bird settles on a branch and bends its legs to crouch, a tendon automatically pulls its toes tight around the perch. It is a locking mechanism. This means a bird can fall asleep in the middle of a storm, rocked by the wind without any fear of falling off. They are literally locked into safety. Fact number 78. Butterflies are fragile, with wings like paper. A heavy raindrop could damage them. When the sky darkens, butterflies seek out the underside of large leaves. They hang upside down, clamping their wings tightly together to reduce their surface area. In this position, they are shielded by the leaf above, waiting out the storm like a hiker under a tarp. They enter a state of low metabolic activity, a mini hibernation, until the sun returns. What about the mosquito? It seems impossible that such a tiny, light creature could survive a collision with a raindrop that weighs 50 times more than it does. It would be like a human being struck by a bus. But high-speed cameras have revealed their secret. Mosquitoes are so light that they don't offer any resistance to the drop.
Instead of being crushed, they are swept up into the drop. They ride the falling water for a fraction of a second, tumbling inside it before their water-repellent hairs allow them to roll off and fly away. They survive by surrendering completely to the flow. Fact number 79. You have likely noticed earthworms surfacing on the sidewalks during a rainstorm. For a long time, it was believed they did this to avoid drowning in their waterlogged burrows. However, worms breathe through their skin and can actually survive underwater for days as long as there is oxygen. New theories suggest they surface because the rain makes the ground wet enough for them to travel quickly over land without drying out. They are using the storm as a superhighway to migrate, find mates, or move to new territory. The rain is their liberation. Fact number 80. In the deep forests of North America, the wood frog has a relationship with cold and moisture that defies logic. If the rain turns to freezing sleet, this frog does not hide. It allows itself to freeze solid. Its heart stops. Its breathing stops. It becomes a small, icy statue. But inside its cells, it produces a high concentration of glucose, which acts as antifreeze to protect its vital organs. When the warm spring rains finally come, the frog thaws out, its heart kickstarts, and it hops away as if nothing happened. Fact number 81. The dawn chorus of birds is a familiar sound, but have you noticed the singing that happens immediately after a rain shower? It often seems louder and clearer. This is not just because the birds are happy, it is acoustics. The air after a rain is clean and often cooler, with a specific density that carries sound waves more efficiently. Furthermore, the background noise of insects is usually silenced by the wet, giving the birds a solo stage. They are seizing the moment of acoustic clarity to send their messages. Fact number 82. Plants are not passive recipients of rain, they are active participants. Look closely at the leaves of a rainforest plant. Many of them have drip tips, long, tapered points at the end of the leaf. These are designed to funnel water off the leaf quickly. If water sits on the leaf for too long, bacteria and fungus can grow. The plant has evolved its own plumbing system to shed the water it does not need, ensuring it stays dry and healthy even in a deluge. Fact number 83. Beneath the soil, a slow-motion race is happening. Roots possess a sense called hydrotropism. They can sense moisture gradients in the soil. When the rain falls and dampens the upper earth, the tiny root hairs actually turn and grow toward the water molecules. It is a form of movement too slow for us to see, but if you could speed up time, the roots would look like snakes, actively hunting for the water that sustains them. Fact number 84. Consider the humble moss. You can find dried, brown, crispy patches of moss on rocks that look completely dead. They can remain in this state for months or even years. This is desiccation tolerance. But the moment the rain touches them, they unfurl. Their cells swell with water, the chlorophyll reactivates, and within minutes they turn a vibrant, living green. They are the resurrection plants of the miniature world. Fact number 85. Bees are master meteorologists. Scientists have observed that bees can sense a drop in barometric pressure, the signal that a storm is approaching. Hours before the first raindrop falls, bees will work harder, foraging longer and faster to gather nectar.
and then return to the hive earlier than usual. They batten down the hatches, clustering together to keep the hive warm and dry while the storm passes. Fact number 86. Snails and slugs, the gastropods, are perhaps the greatest lovers of rain in the animal kingdom. Their bodies are mostly of water, and they rely on mucus to move. Dry ground is their enemy. It saps their moisture. The rain turns the entire world into a slippery, navigable path. When you're tucked in bed, the snails are having their grandest adventures, gliding over the wet leaves and stones with ease. Fact number 89. Beavers, the architects of the river, become very active during the rain. They can hear the sound of rushing water, a signal that their dams might be under stress, or that there is an opportunity to expand the pond. They will often work through the rain, packing mud and sticks to reinforce their structures. The rain gives them the materials they need, soft mud, and the motivation to build. Finally, for the prey animals, the deer, the rabbits, the mice, the rain is a cloak of invisibility. The water washes away their scent trails. The sound of the falling drops masks the sound of their footsteps. The visual distortion makes them harder to spot. For a nervous animal, a heavy rain is a blanket of safety.
They can graze and move with a level of confidence that they do not possess on a clear, silent night. Rain in culture and comfort. We are animals too, and like the deer and the bird, we have a deep instinctual response to the rain. But we also have culture, art, and language to describe this relationship. Fact number 89. There is a beautiful word for people who find peace of mind and joy during rainy days, pluviophile. It comes from the Latin pluvia, rain, and phile, lover of. A pluviophile is not just someone who tolerates the rain, they are someone who thrives in it. If you feel a sense of relief when the sun disappears behind a cloud, if you love the smell of wet asphalt, if you sleep better when the sky is weeping, you are a pluviophile. Fact number 90. Throughout history, humans have tried to capture the sound of rain. In Chile, the Diaguita people created the rain stick. Traditionally made from the dried skeleton of the capado cactus, the thorns are pushed inward and the hollow tube is filled with pebbles or seeds. When the stick is upended, the pebbles cascade over the internal thorns, creating a gentle, trickling sound that mimics a shower. It was originally used in ceremonies to call for rain, but today it is a tool for meditation and relaxation, a way to hold a storm in the palm of your hand. Fact number 90. In Denmark, there is a concept known as hygge, pronounced hygge. It is difficult to translate, but it roughly means coziness or comfortable conviviality. Rain is a central element of hygge. The contrast is key. To feel truly hygge, there must be a cold, wild element outside, a storm, snow, or wind, and a warm, safe element inside, candles, wool socks, hot tea. The rain against the window validates the warmth inside. It turns a simple room into a sanctuary. Fact number 92. Color psychology tells us that the colors of a rainy day, slate blue, soft gray, muted greens, are the most calming to the human nervous system. Bright reds and yellows stimulate and alert us. But the desaturated palette of a storm is a visual signal to the brain to lower its guard. It is nature turning down the brightness setting on the world to help you rest. Fact number 93. In the world of cinema, rain is often used to symbolize a turning point or a moment of emotional release. But there is a practical side too. In the early days of film, real rain did not show up well on camera. It was too transparent. Movie makers had to mix milk or white paint into the water to make the drops visible. So when you watch an old black and white movie and see a romantic scene in the pouring rain, you are likely watching a shower of diluted milk. Fact number 96. Music has always tried to emulate the rain. Frédéric Chopin, the great composer, wrote his Raindrop Prelude, Prelude Op. 28, No. 15, during a storm while staying at a monastery in Majorca. Throughout the piece, a single repeated note, an A-flat, plays continuously in the background. Tum, tum, tum. It mimics the relentless, hypnotic dripping of rain on the monastery roof. It transforms the monotony of the weather into a melody. Fact number 97.
In ancient Rome, architecture was designed to welcome the rain. The impluvium was a sunken basin in the floor of the atrium, positioned directly beneath an opening in the roof called the compluvium. When it rained, the water fell straight into the center of the house, collecting in a shallow reflecting pool. The sound of the water echoing off the marble walls created a natural cooling system and a serene, meditative atmosphere right in the living room. Fact number 96. We often view rain as an inconvenience, but for most of human history, it was the greatest gift imaginable. Almost every ancient culture had a sky god who controlled the rain. Indra in India, Zeus in Greece, Thor in Scandinavia, Tlaloc in Aztec mythology. These figures were powerful because rain was life. A rainy day was not a bad day, it was a promise that there would be food for the harvest. Our deep-seated relief at the sound of rain may be an ancestral gratitude for survival. Fact number 98. There is a cousin to the scent of petrichor found in our own homes. Have you ever smelled an old book? That sweet, musky scent of aging paper and vanilla? It is caused by the breakdown of lignin in the paper, which is related to the organic polymers found in trees and soil. In a way, the smell of a library and the smell of a forest after rain are chemically related. They are both scents of organic history, comforting and grounding. Fact number 99. For those who suffer from tinnitus, a constant ringing in the ears, rain is often the best medicine. The broad spectrum of frequencies in the sound of rain, the pink noise we mentioned, effectively masks the internal ringing. It occupies the auditory nerve just enough to distract the brain, providing a welcome respite of sound through sound.
Fact number 99. Rain is the great equalizer. It falls on the roof of the king and the roof of the pauper alike. It falls on the skyscraper and the tent. When a storm covers a city, everyone in that city is experiencing the same event at the same time. It is a shared, communal experience that connects us to our neighbors, even if we never speak to them. We are all under the same cloud. Fact number 100. And finally, the most important fact of all. You are the rain. The water that makes up 60% of your body is ancient. It has been rain, it has been ocean, it has been cloud, it has been glacier. The fluids that flow through your veins, the moisture in your breath, the tears you cry, it is all part of the same hydrologic cycle that is happening outside your window right now. You are not separate from the storm. You are a temporary vessel for the same water that fell on the dinosaurs, that watered the hanging gardens of Babylon, and that is currently tapping gently against your glass. You are part of the flow. Conclusion. And now the list is complete. 100 truths about the soft rain and the rolling thunder. We have journeyed from the microscopic birth of a droplet around a grain of salt to the massive, silent lightning of the Catatumbo. We have learned that the air is full of cleaning ions, that the birds are locked safely in their sleep, and that the flowers of the desert are just waiting for their moment. We have debunked the shape of the teardrop and learned the true geometry of the hamburger bun. We have smelled the ozone and the petrichor. We have felt the cool mist of the waterfall and the warm comfort of the wool blanket. The storm outside is no longer a chaotic event. It is a known friend. You understand it now, down to its very atoms. And in understanding it, there is no room for fear. There is only wonder. There is only the heavy, rhythmic, hypnotic pulse of the natural world doing exactly what it is supposed to do. Listen to the sound. Shh. Plink, plonk. The rain is slowing down now. The heavy downpour has softened into a gentle, steady drizzle, the kind of rain that whispers. Visualize your muscles one last time. Your feet are heavy, sinking into the mattress, as still as the stones in the riverbed. Your legs are relaxed, loose and warm, like the moss resting on the forest floor. Your stomach is soft, rising and falling with your breath, like the tide. Your hands are uncurled, open, letting go of everything they were holding. Your shoulders are low, dropped away from your ears, released from their burden.
Your face is smooth. The space between your eyebrows is wide and relaxed. Your jaw is slack. Your eyes are closed, and behind them there is a soft, gray darkness, a comforting, velvet twilight. The knowledge you have gathered tonight is not something you need to carry. You can set it down. It is part of you now, woven into the fabric of your dreams. Outside, the clouds are drifting on. The air is clean, the earth is drinking, the roots are drinking, and you are resting, drifting, floating on the surface of a calm, dark lake. The rain is a curtain, closing gently around the day, safe, warm, dry, asleep. Good night, friend. Good night. Hello, friend. It is your guide again. We have traveled a long way together tonight. We have climbed the invisible staircases of thermal currents to watch the birth of clouds. We have floated alongside the silent, spherical raindrops as they began their descent. We have breathed in the ancient perfume of the earth, the petrichor, and felt the rumble of thunder in the very center of our chests. We have counted 100 truths, 100 small anchors to hold us steady in the stream of the night. Now there are no more numbers to count. There are no more facts to memorize. There is only the feeling of them. The knowledge has settled like a soft blanket over your mind. And now it is time to let that knowledge drift into wisdom, and for that wisdom to drift into sleep. For this final span of time, I want you to simply exist in the world we have built. There is nothing left to learn tonight. The school of the sky is closed. The library of the storm is dimming its lights. You are just a consciousness floating safely in a warm, dry room, while the universe performs its water symphony just for you. Let us begin this final descent by returning to your body. You might feel that you have left it behind during our journey, that you were floating in the Amazon or standing on the misty peaks of mountains. But now, call your awareness back to the here and now. Feel the mattress beneath you. It is a solid, unwavering support. It holds you up completely. You do not need to hold yourself. Let gravity have every ounce of your weight. Imagine that with every exhale, you are becoming slightly heavier. Not a burdensome heaviness, but a comforting one. Like a stone settling into the soft, sandy bottom of a clear river. The current flows over you, but you are still. You are grounded. Your feet are heavy. The muscles in your calves are loose and long. The tension in your thighs has unraveled. Your hips are open and relaxed. Your spine is a long, resting line. Your shoulders are far away from your ears, sunken into the mattress. Your arms are heavy ropes, lying still by your sides. Your hands are open, the palms soft, the fingers curled gently like sleeping flowers. Your neck is free. Your jaw is unclenched. Your tongue is resting on the floor of your mouth. The skin of your forehead is smooth, like a calm lake. Your eyelids are heavy curtains, drawn shut against the world. You are safe. You are warm. You are ready to drift. As you lie there, I want you to invite the memory of the rain back into your mind, not as a concept, but as a presence. Listen. Tap, tap, plink, thrum. The sound is constant. It is a wall of white and pink noise that surrounds your shelter. It separates you from the demands of yesterday and the worries of tomorrow. There is only this continuous, fluid now. Let us gently revisit the journey we took, not to analyze it, but to float through it one last time, like a leaf drifting down a stream. Remember the ocean. Visualize that vast, heaving expanse of blue, the cradle of all rain. In your mind's eye, the ocean is calm now. The waves are rolling in slow motion. You can see the heat of the sun, a gentle, warming golden light touching the surface of the water. You can see the invisible spirits of the water rising, evaporation. It is a silent ascension. The water is leaving the heavy earth to become the sky. Feel yourself rising with it. You are weightless, drifting upward on a warm updraft. You are leaving the heavy ground behind. Up, past the treetops, past the hills. The air is getting cooler. It is refreshing, like a cold cloth on a fevered forehead. You are floating in the mist, the white, fluffy embrace of the cumulus. You are surrounded by billions of tiny droplets suspended in the air. It is quiet here, a muffled, cotton-like silence. You are safe in the cloud. You are part of the abode of clouds. And now the coalescence, the gathering. The droplets are coming together, merging, becoming heavy with purpose. You feel the gentle pull of gravity returning. It is not a harsh pull, but a welcoming one. The earth is calling you home. You begin to fall, slowly, so slowly. You are a single raindrop. You are not a teardrop. You are a sphere, a perfect, shimmering globe of water. You are falling through the gray twilight. The wind rushes past you, shaping you, flattening your bottom into that kidney bean shape, cradling you as you descend. Watch the world coming closer. The green canopy of the forest, the gray slate of the city roofs, the blue mirror of the lakes. You are one of millions, a soldier in the army of peace. Splash. You land, but you do not break. You simply join. You merge with the puddle, with the river, with the damp soil. You are home. Breathe in deep through your nose. Can you smell it? Petrichor. The scent of the earth saying thank you. The geosmin rising from the soil. The oils of the dry plants releasing their secrets. It is the smell of life returning. It is the smell of a clean slate. Every breath you take fills your lungs with this cleansing, grounding aroma. It cleans out the stale thoughts, the dusty worries. It leaves only the fresh, damp scent of the storm. Imagine the negative ions in the air around you, those invisible sparks of energy that scrub the atmosphere. They are clustering around you now, heavier than the dust, pulling the pollutants down to the floor, leaving the air around your face pristine and pure. You are breathing the cleanest air on the planet. It nourishes your blood. It calms your heart. Now, let your hearing expand. We spoke of the orchestra of the rain. Let us listen to the different sections of that orchestra. Focus on the high notes first. The hiss of the rain on the grass. Thousands of tiny blades of grass bowing under the weight of the water. Shh. It is a sound like a mother silencing a room. Hush, hush. Move your attention to the leaves, the broad green leaves of the oak and the maple. Plap, plop, thud. The sound is deeper, more rhythmic. The water collects, pools, and then falls. A heavy, satisfying drop. Drip, drop. It is the heartbeat of the forest. Now the roof, the tin roof of a cabin deep in the woods. Ping, ting, tang, hum. The metal sings under the impact. It is a chaotic, beautiful melody that merges into a drone. A steady, vibrating hum that resonates in your bones. It is a sound that says, I am the shield. I am the barrier. Nothing can touch you here. And underneath it all, the bass, the distant thunder, rumble. It is miles away.
It is rolling across the hills, losing its sharp edges, becoming a soft, velvet growl. It wraps around the house like a heavy blanket. It vibrates through the floorboards, up through the bed, and into your body. It is a massage for your nervous system, a deep, sonic reassurance that the storm is powerful, but you are safe. Let us travel in our minds again. Let us go to those places we learned about. Go to the mossy forests of the Pacific Northwest. Visualize the moss. Thick, green, soft. It covers the rocks, the fallen logs, the ground. It is a sponge. It drinks the rain in silence. Imagine you are lying on a bed of that moss. It is softer than any mattress. It conforms to your shape. It is cool and damp and smells of pine needles and history. The rain filters through the canopy above, falling on your face as a fine, cool mist. You are perfectly comfortable. You are part of the forest floor. Drift now to the desert, the red sands, the dry, cracked earth. Feel the anticipation. The sky turns purple, the wind picks up, and then the first drops. Sizzle. The ground drinks them instantly, then more. The smell of the creosote bush explodes into the air. The red dust turns to dark, rich mud. The seeds beneath the surface stir. You can feel the life force waking up. But you do not need to wake up. You can simply watch. You can watch the desert bloom in your dreams. A carpet of flowers unfurling in fast motion, pinks, yellows, purples, covering the sand. A miracle of water. Float across the ocean to the jungle, the Amazon. The air is thick and warm. The rain here is heavy, a warm shower. The leaves are huge, glistening with water. The birds are tucked away. Visualize the little bird we spoke of, the one with the locking mechanism in its feet. See it perched on a high branch, tucked against the trunk of a tree. Its feathers are fluffed up to trap body heat. Its head is tucked under its wing. It is fast asleep. The branch sways in the wind, rocking back and forth, back and forth. But the bird does not wake. It is locked in safety. You are that bird. You are locked in safety. The winds of the world may blow, but you will not fall. You are held fast. You can sleep. Visualize the frog, the wood frog in the leaf litter. It is cold, but it does not mind. It has surrendered to the cold. It has slowed its heart. It has stopped its breath. It is waiting. It is perfectly still. Be like the frog. Stillness. Your heart is slow. Thump, thump. Your breath is shallow. In, out. You are in a state of suspended animation, waiting for the morning sun, but deeply content in the dark night. The storm is the great lullaby of the planet. It is the song that has sung humanity to sleep for 200,000 years. Think of the cave, the fire flickering at the entrance, the rain pouring down outside. The ancient family huddled together in furs. They knew that the rain meant safety. No predators would be hunting. No enemies would be traveling. The rain was the lock on the door of the world. That memory is in your blood. Your DNA remembers the safety of the cave. Your room is that cave. Your blanket is that fur. The darkness is that night. You are safe. Let the concept of time dissolve. There is no hours here. There is no minutes. There is only the rhythm of the water. Drip, drop, plink, plunk. It is a loop, a gentle, endless loop. Your brain tries to follow the pattern, but there is no pattern. It is random. It is stochastic. And so, your brain stops trying. It lets go. It stops predicting. It stops planning. It just listens. Let us count the distance of the thunder one last time. See the flash, a soft, muted light behind your eyelids. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Rumble. 2 miles away. The storm is moving away from you. It is walking away from you, taking its noise and its energy to another horizon. It is leaving you in peace. The thunder is getting quieter, quieter. The lightning is fading. Now there is only the rain, the steady, soft, nourishing rain, the pink noise, the noise of peace. Imagine the color of the sound, a soft, dusty pink, a warm twilight purple, a deep, oceanic blue. The sounds are colors swirling in your mind. They are painting a dream for you. We talked of the ukiyo, the floating world.
You are in the floating world now. You are detached from the shore. You have pushed off the dock. You are drifting in a small wooden boat on a calm lake in the rain. Lie back in the boat. Look up at the gray sky. Feel the gentle rocking of the boat. Rock, rock. Feel the gentle tap of the rain on your face. Tap, tap. The water is warm. It mixes with the lake. You are floating toward the center of the lake where the silence is deepest. There are no phones here. There are no emails. There are no alarms. There are no voices. There is only the water and the sky. Let us go deeper into relaxation. I want you to visualize a staircase.
A staircase made of mossy stone, descending into a beautiful, lush garden. It is raining gently in the garden. There are 10 steps. With each step you take, you will feel more relaxed, more sleepy, more disconnected from the waking world. Step 10. Feel the stone under your feet. It is solid. The rain touches your skin. It is soothing. Step 9. You are descending deeper. The air is rich with oxygen and ozone. It makes you feel heavy and calm. Step 8. Your legs are moving slowly. There is no rush. You have all the time in the world. Step 7. You can smell the flowers, the jasmine, the wet rose, the damp earth. The scent is intoxicating. It makes your eyelids heavy. Step 6. Halfway down. The sound of the rain is all around you, a curtain of sound. Step 5. You are feeling so tired now, a wonderful, sweet exhaustion. The kind of tired that comes after a long day of good work. Step 4. Deeper and deeper. Your body is asleep. Your mind is floating. Step 3. You see a small pavilion at the bottom of the garden. A dry, cozy place with a soft bed waiting for you. Step 2. Almost there. The sleep is pulling at you, gentle and irresistible. Step 1. You step off the staircase. You are in the garden. You walk slowly to the pavilion. There is a bed there with fluffy white pillows and a thick down comforter. You lie down. You pull the covers up. You listen to the rain on the roof of the pavilion. You are home. And now, as you lie in this garden of your mind, let me remind you of the final truth, the one that binds them all together. Water is flow. Water does not resist. When water meets a rock, it flows around it. When water meets a cliff, it becomes a waterfall. When water meets a hollow, it becomes a lake. It accepts the shape of the world. It does not fight. Tonight, be like the water. Do not fight your thoughts. Flow around them. Do not fight the sleeplessness. Flow into it, and it will turn into sleep. Accept the shape of this moment. The shape is horizontal. The shape is dark. The shape is quiet. You are the rain. You are the river. You are the ocean. The cycle is complete. The cloud has risen. The rain has fallen. The river has run. And now the water rests. Rest with it. I will stay with you for a little while longer, just watching the rain fall. There is no need to listen to my words anymore. They are just sounds. They are just part of the rain. Let them wash over you. Think of the sleepy bees in their hive, clustered together, warm and buzzing softly. Think of the butterfly under the leaf, wings folded tight. Think of the beaver in the lodge, safe under the mud and sticks. Think of the roots drinking in the dark. The world is asleep. The hemisphere is turning away from the sun. The shadow is covering us. The shadow is a blanket. Sleep is a nutrient. It is as necessary as the water. Drink it in. Let it fill your cells. Let it repair you. Let it wash you clean. The storm is a gift. It has washed the world clean for you, so that when you wake, the sky will be blue, the leaves will be green, and the air will be new. But that is for tomorrow. Right now, there is only the gray, the beautiful, soft,
comforting gray. Drift, float, sink. Your breathing is so slow now, so even, like the tide. In and out, in and out, rising and falling. The rain is getting softer, a gentle mist, a whisper. Hush. The thunder is gone, the wind is gone, just the stillness, the wet silence. You are walking through the quiet woods in your mind. Everything is dripping. The drops fall from the leaves. Plip, plop. Ripples in the puddles, ripples in your mind. Spreading out, slowing down, stopping. The surface is glass. The reflection is perfect. You are at peace. Sleep is coming to claim you. It is a gentle friend. It takes your hand. It leads you into the dark. Do not be afraid. The dark is where the stars are. The dark is where the dreams are. Let go. Let go of the list. Let go of the facts. Let go of the guide. Let go of yourself. Just be. Be the sleep. We are ending our story here, but your story continues in the dream. May it be a wet dream, a dream of water and life. May it be a cool dream. May it be a deep dream. Good night, traveler. Good night, listener. Good night, rain.